Hello friends, myself Dr. Nandakumar Raubavale from College of Engineering Ambazogai is going to deal with Applied Thermodynamics 2. This is our 10th lecture. In previous lecture, we have discussed on numericals related to vapor compression refrigeration system. Now, today we are going to discuss the actual vapor compression refrigeration cycle and effects on the system performance of various factors. So first of all, we will see how this vapor compression refrigeration cycle is different from theoretical vapor compression refrigeration cycle. So difference between theoretical cycle and actual cycle we want to see. So now what is the first difference? That is, vapor refrigerant leaving evaporator is in superheated state. So we have seen various cycles in which the vapor leaving the evaporator, it was in first case it was wet, then we thought it was dry saturated, but actually what it says, the refrigerant leaving evaporator is in a superheated state. Then second thing is the compression of refrigeration is neither isentropic nor polytropic. So the compression process we assume from 1 to 2 as isentropic, but actually it is neither isentropic nor polytropic, as the heat transfer from compressor takes place. Now the liquid refrigerant before entering to the expansion wall is subcooled. So in one of the case we have assumed that the liquid refrigerant was saturated liquid. So usually the refrigerant is subcooled in this refrigeration cycle before entering into the expansion wall, and the pressure drop in evaporator and condenser is going to take place. So here what we say that this moves at constant pressure. So in condenser as well as in evaporator, the processes are assumed to be constant pressure process, but it is not practically true. So the pressure drop takes place. So what happens here, see, this is condensation process, this is say evaporation. So we assume that constant pressure process, but actually in this case pressure falls, in this case also pressure is going to fall. So this is the actual difference between actual vapor compression refrigeration and theoretical vapor compression refrigeration that we see in detail. So now let us consider this diagram. So now the refrigerant enters in the evaporator at point 1. So when it enters into the evaporator at point 1, so it rejects it absorbs latent heat of vaporization from 1 to 2, and it gets superheated up to point 3. So as this refrigerant moves into the evaporator, at that time this increase in the temperature of refrigerant is observed and superheating of refrigerant takes place from 2 to 3. So in a usual process we say that the refrigerating effect starts at point 1 and ends at 2. So it continues beyond 2 and the refrigerant becomes superheated because the additional heat is absorbed by the refrigerant from the tubings or tubes which are passed into the evaporator, and when it comes out of this evaporator, or when before entering into the compressor, there also it absorbs heat energy at the inlet of compressor. Therefore the refrigerant becomes superheated at the inlet of compressor. So this point 3 is the inlet of compressor. So now this PE represents what you say evaporator pressure. So this 1 to 2, 2 to 3 is constant pressure line. So practically this is not going to remain constant pressure. So pressure also falls because of restricted opening. And now at point 3, the refrigerant which is in superheated state is ready to enter into the compressor. So the pressure of compressor, suction pressure, is less than the evaporator pressure. So the pressure of refrigerant which is in the superheated vapor form falls from 3 to 4 at the inlet of compressor. And when the pressure falls because of suction pressure, so if there is a difference in the pressure, then only the flow of refrigerant takes place from evaporator to the compressor. So because of this difference in the pressure, refrigerant starts to flow from evaporator into the compressor. Again, from 4 to 5, here there is heat gain. So the refrigerant absorbs heat from 4 to 5, and the refrigerant which moves into this enters into the compressor absorbs heat in a compressor, and its heat is enthalpy is going to increase. So actual process of compression starts at 0.5 and it continues up to 0.6. So this process of compression starts from 5 to 6. So the pressure of refrigerant is increased beyond the condenser pressure. So this is the process 9, 10, 8, 9, 10 is the condensation process. So pressure of refrigerant is increased beyond this condenser pressure, and then the refrigerant is moved towards condenser. So when it starts to enter into the condenser, it rejects heat, or enthalpy of refrigerant decreases. And when it enters at 0.7 into the condenser, so due to the difference in the condenser pressure and delivery pressure of compressor, suddenly the pressure falls, and from 0.8 onwards the condensation process starts. Heat rejection process starts from 8 to 9, and 9 to 10 the latent heat is rejected by the refrigerant. So Q out, heat is rejected in the condenser. So what we assume here, this process 8, 9, 10 is a constant pressure process, but practically this is not going to be a constant pressure process. There is a drop in the pressure. So now here heat is rejected to the surrounding. Again, this refrigerant, when it enters into the condenser, it is subcooled. Actually it is subcooled. So when it becomes dry saturated, then only it is not entering into the expansion wall. So it is subcooled, or cooling effect is increased, or this condensate or refrigerant which is in the form of saturated liquid is again cooled below that saturation temperature. That is known as subcooling. When it is subcooled, then it enters into the expansion wall or throttling wall, and then it is throttled from 11 to 1. So this is the last process. So process 1 to 2 to 3, this is the evaporation process. Evaporation process. Then 5 to 6 is compression, and then 8 to 10 it is heat rejection. Sorry, 8, 9, 10, 11, up to 8, 9, 10, 11, this is heat rejection, and 11 to 1 it is expansion process. So this is how the actual vapor compression refrigeration works. So we'll see it in detail one by one, the process wise. So now here the process 1, 2, 3 is nothing but the evaporation process. The 0.1 represents entry of refrigerant into the evaporator, and 0.3 is the exit of refrigerant from the evaporator. Then the 0.3 also represents the entry of refrigerant into the compressor. It is exit of evaporator. 1, 2, 3. 3 is exit of evaporator and entry of compressor. Then the superheating of vapor refrigerant from 0.2 to 3 may be due to some of the reasons. Which are those reasons why this superheating takes place? So automatic control of expansion wall, so that the refrigerant leaves the evaporator as a superheated vapor. So this there is the effect of automatic control expansion wall, and the superheating takes place. This is one of the reasons, not completely it is depending on this automatic control of expansion wall. Then second, pickup of large amount of heat from evaporator through pipes located within the cooled space. So if this is the cooled space and these pipes are moved into this cooled space, and this absorbs additional heat into the cold space. Then pickup of heat from suction pipe. So when it enters into this compressor, so then also this absorbs heat energy and the refrigerant becomes superheated. So this is the first process of evaporation of refrigerant from point 1, 2 to 3. Now coming back to this process 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now the refrigerant is ready to enter into the compressor, which is at pressure PA, which is called as a evaporator pressure, and suction pressure of compressor is below this evaporator pressure. So because of pressure difference, the refrigerant enters into the compressor. So 3 to 4 is the suction process. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The refrigerant enters into the compressor through suction valve at point 3. Then the pressure falls to point 4 due to frictional resistance to flow. So here there is a frictional resistance as well as there must be a pressure difference. If there is a pressure difference, then only the refrigerant enters into the compressor. If the pressure of both evaporator and compressor is same, then the refrigerant will not move into the compressor. Then the actual suction pressure is lower than evaporator pressure. So suction pressure of compressor is less than the evaporator pressure. Then during suction and prior to compression, the temperature of cold refrigerant vapor rises to 0.5. So here the temperature rises, or superheating again gets enhanced. Then the actual compression of refrigerant is shown by process 5 to 6. As we have seen, this is the actual compression from 5 to 6. The refrigerant is compressed beyond the condenser pressure. So this is the condenser pressure line. So refrigerant is compressed beyond the condenser pressure. So heating effect at suction given by 4, 5. So here this is heating effect, and cooling effect at discharge 6, 7. So here cooling effect is going to happen. Both are assumed to be equal, approximately equal. Then heating and cooling effect take place at constant pressure. So these are the constant pressure process 4, 5 and 6, 7. So now then the actual discharge pressure is more than the actual condenser pressure. If the discharge pressure is equal to the condenser pressure or less than the condenser pressure, then refrigerant will not enter into the condenser. So therefore the discharge pressure must be greater than condenser pressure. Then only it is possible for this refrigerant to move from compressor to the condenser. Then moving to this cooling process or heat rejection process. So that is from 8 to 9, 10, 11. So this process 8, 9, 10, 11 is the heat rejection process, where heat is rejected by the refrigerant to the surroundings. So represents cooling of superheated vapor refrigerant to dry saturated state. So here first superheated refrigerant is converted into dry saturated refrigerant. Then latent heat is rejected from 9 to 10, and then it becomes a saturated liquid, and then from 10 to 11 again sensible heat is rejected, and there the refrigerant becomes or it is subcooled. So this is a process 9 to 10 shows removal of latent heat. 9 to 10 shows removal of latent heat, and the process 10 to 11 represents subcooling of refrigerant. And this is desirable as it increases the refrigerating effect per kg of refrigerant flow. So now see, if the refrigerant is passed into the throttling valve at point 10 itself, so this will take this path 10 to 1 dash. So refrigerating effect will be 1 dash to 2. So this is going to be reduced. So refrigerating effect will be smaller. If we are going to subcool, then refrigerating effect will be from 1 to 2. So here it helps us to increase refrigerating effect. So if we are going to do subcooling, then refrigerating effect increases. If we are not subcooling, directly if we are passing refrigerant at point 10 into the expansion wall, then this expansion process takes this path 10 to 1 dash. So from 1 dash to 2 will be the refrigerating effect, which is shorter than the refrigerating effect from 1 to 2. So here subcooling helps us to increase the refrigerating effect. Now the process 11 to 1. So what is this process? It is nothing but throttling process or expansion process, during which the refrigerant is again expanded, and the temperature of refrigerant falls, and which becomes capable of absorbing heat energy. So this process represents the expansion of subcooled liquid refrigerant by throttling from the condenser pressure to evaporator pressure. So this is evaporator pressure. From condenser pressure to evaporator pressure, it is expanded. So now this was about the actual vapor compression refrigeration cycle. Now we'll see what are the effects of suction pressure. So what we have seen there, the suction pressure is going to fall. So the suction pressure of compressor is less than the evaporator pressure. So here we have seen the suction pressure is less than evaporator pressure. What is effect of suction pressure if it falls? So now if we see here, the actual suction pressure is 4 to 1. So this is suction pressure. If the suction pressure falls from PS to PS dash, say PS to PS dash, so this refrigerating effect, if you see here in first case, without the decrease in suction pressure, refrigerating effect 4.1 is larger, and if suction pressure falls, then the refrigerating effect from 4 to 1 dash is going to be smaller. See here also, the refrigerating effect in this case is say 4 to 1, and if this pressure falls, then we can have this refrigerating effect 4 dash to 1 dash. 4 dash to 1 dash is smaller. That is nothing but if the suction pressure falls, then it affects on reduction in the refrigerating effect. So if the suction pressure is larger will be the refrigerating effect, and if suction pressure is less, then refrigerating effect will be smaller. So that is nothing but it reduces the refrigerating effect. That is nothing but actually it must be from H1 to H4, that is the difference from H1 to H4, but instead of that it will be H1 dash to H4 dash. And then another effect is it increases the compression work. So actual compression work is H2 minus H1, but when the suction pressure gets reduced, the compression work starts from 1 dash to 2. So this increases the work required for compression. So now you can see here increases the work required for compression from H2 minus H1. So actually is H2 minus H1, but due to reduction in the suction pressure, so it increases from H2 to H1 dash, H2 minus H1 dash. So this is the increase in the compression work. So what is effect on COP? So how we define COP? Refrigerating effect divided by work done. So here refrigerating effect is reduced and work done is increased. So work done is increased, the refrigerating effect is reduced. So in both way, this is going to reduce the coefficient of performance. So numerator is decreased and denominator is increased. So simultaneously it reduces numerator and increases denominator. Then that is nothing but it is going to reduce coefficient of performance. So net effect is to decrease coefficient of performance of a refrigerating system for same amount of refrigerant flow. Say for example 1 kg of refrigerant flows per unit time, then for same amount of refrigerant flowing through the refrigeration system, and the amount of COP will get reduced. This is effect of suction pressure over the performance of refrigeration system. Now we'll see effect of discharge pressure. So instead of here what we have seen in this diagram, the delivery pressure is increased beyond the condenser pressure. So what is effect of increasing delivery pressure than the condenser pressure? So now as the delivery pressure is increased from say PD to PD dash, so there what is happening, we can see the work done required will increase. So here work done increases from 1 to 2 dash, as well as refrigerating effect will also get reduced. So if you see here instead of 2, if this pressure is increased to say 2 double dash, and then it is like this, so 2 double dash, then 2 triple dash and 3 dash, then this expansion takes place like this. So indirectly 4 shifts to 4 dash. So refrigerating effect is 1 minus 4 dash. So 1 minus 4 dash will be the shorter refrigerating effect. Actual refrigerating effect is 4 to 1. So if we increase this delivery pressure or discharge pressure, then it reduces the refrigerating effect. Simultaneously the work done also gets increased from 1 to 2 double dash. So work done also gets increases work required for compression from H2 minus H1 to H2 dash minus H1. So H2 double dash we can say in this case, or in this case from 1 to 2 dash. So H2 dash minus H1. So this is on PH diagram and this is on TS diagram. So here again a refrigerating effect gets reduced and work done required for compression increases, and in the same way as suction pressure has got effect, discharge pressure also has got similar effect. COP of refrigeration system gets reduced. The effect of increase in discharge pressure is similar to the effect of decrease in suction pressure, but the severity of increase in the discharge pressure is less than the decrease in the suction pressure. So it is not that intensive as that of decrease in the suction pressure, but the effect of increase in discharge pressure is not as severe as the reduction in suction pressure. So this is about the actual vapor compression refrigeration system and effect of the parameters on the performance of refrigeration system. So in next class we will be looking at refrigerants, classification of refrigerants in detail. Thank you.